All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Give me an audio check. Let me know how I sound. Let me know if you guys can hear me, and we'll get into the charts. See if there's anything interesting. Obviously, last week, pretty light week, really low volume, just not a lot of range really, and not a lot of technical change. In a lot of the markets and really just a lot of the stocks. So I kept my videos and posts relatively light because there just wasn't anything really going on. I'm out next week, so just, I'll probably be able to check the markets and maybe send out some posts if I see any like real changes. I'm just not going to be able to put together videos or do a live stream or anything like that. So, but I'll try to like throw up some charts. I think we're going to get some movement next week. We had that inflation reading come out. Nothing really, it came out as expected, so I don't know if that's going to move the market or not, but I think Jerome Powell also spoke on Friday. I don't know what he said, but again, we'll see how the futures open up on Monday or Sunday evening, really. Triple Qs, guys, just give you a quick little look. Again, we've been in this bearish rising wedge here. All right, there it is. That's really been broken, and we're just kind of trading sideways there. So we've really gone nowhere. I mean, there's this range here. You can see I've kind of got it outlined. Top of the range, bottom of the range. Let me just kind of mark that out. It's basically there. So top of the range is about 448.50 or so, and then bottom of the range 433.50-ish, and we're just chopping within that range. You can see all of last week. I mean, it was just really light week. So I think we're heading to the bottom of the range, and then we'll see. Again, bottom of the range, that's support. So if you're short and you want to kind of play it safe, you could do something like this. Bottom of the range, cover your short. You'll probably get a little bounce, and then you wouldn't want to short again until you break the bottom of that range. You want to break through that. All right, that's the next sell signal. If you don't get that and you hit the bottom of the range and then bounce, then again you don't have a short. So I want to short here at the top of the range, or I want to short there on a break of the bottom of the range. All right, and I want to cover my short if I fall down into that support zone. So that's it on triple Qs. There's really nothing else going on. Let's just get on to some other stuff. Let's look at some of these other stocks. Just give you guys a quick look. I mean, Tesla would be the one I wouldn't want to short the most, although I think that it's probably still a short. You've got a gap to fill right here, and it's likely heading down to that 146.83. There's a gap to fill, so not a really objective area to be shorting it at, though. If you're already short up here, because again, I pointed it out. There's your downtrend. I kind of marked it out. They stepped in early on that one, but that's the area you want to short at, and then you could be writing that down. Apple, yeah, Apple's kind of walking down this downtrend right here. One day broke above it, but failed it the very next day. Support to me looks to be about 166.30, so you break that and it should roll over. So Apple looks weak. Nvidia, again, that one's starting to break. Okay, so this was when Nvidia were like day in and day out was just up every single day. This is right before the Nvidia earnings, and then right after the earnings, and then just up. But again, we've now broken this trend line. There's really no there's really no support there. And even if I just move my trend line, I was kind of messing with this one. If I move it, I mean, yeah, you could have that as support potentially, you know, if I mark it like that, if you want to give that, but I only have 2 data points, 1, 2, so that's not really a valid trend line. So I have to kind of put it back to there where I had a lot more data points. And yeah, that looks broken to me. So watch that one. I mean, again, you take out these lows here. That's probably going to get this thing going. Start taking out these lows right in there. It's about 852.22. And again, you'd want to see the triple Qs take out that support level that I pointed out as well. Google, Google's kind of hanging in there. I don't see anything really broken on Google. It's hanging in there. So, you know, they might pop it up and make a new divergent high. Because if they just pop it up just over these highs right here, just pop it up, you'll have negative divergence, another negative divergence continuation. So I don't see anything right there that I really want to short quite yet, except for divergence is there. Microsoft, you got negative divergence, holding, yeah, kind of holding support. Let me just kind of move that down there. It's not impulsive. You know, you're below that trend line, but just barely, and it's not impulsive. So no sell signal yet on that one. Meta starting to break. This one you can see here. I mean, look, this is earnings right there, gapped it up, and then it was just on this grind with a lot of the other Mag 7s, this grind higher. But the grind higher came with negative divergence. It continued to diverge. You can see it's diverging. Momentum's just dropping here, while price is popping higher. Okay, and so that tells you that it's kind of the end of the rally. You know, when you see momentum just dropping off when price is moving higher, that's the bag holders. There's always going to be bag holders basically that are like, just follow price, and they're like, it's going up, everything's great. You know, you're wrong. And then what happens is it gaps down, and you know, the people that have been clowning on me are like, well, he's got to be right sometime. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is picking up nickels in front of a steamroller. At least that's how I view it. You know, if you buy long, or you're long here, and yeah, it's going higher, so yeah, you're making money. But again, the upside's limited because the momentum's dropping. So, and then you can see if I roll out on the daily. Oh, got a lot of lines here. This is the gap. Let me get rid of this one. I don't think I need that one. But this one here, that's our gap there. And then you can see basically, you know, support. Even right there, support. Friday, breakdown. So, I mean, that's a sell signal. I mean, it is a breakdown. It's far enough off from that trend line that you can clearly see that broke down. So, I would say next spot to me where it looks like good support, it's kind of a confluence of support, would be right in here. All right, because again, that's your gap. So that's gap support. And then you also have this uptrend line, which is down here. You can see, look at that, support. Okay, that's good support down there. So I suspect it'll take a couple days. We're going to run down to there. It's about 452-ish. So that to me looks like if you're short this thing, that looks like a good spot to cover. I am short this thing. It's profitable actually, because again, I shorted it a little early, so I was kind of just riding it up. But again, I didn't short it before the earnings right here, you know. So, but it's profitable at this point. And I think I shorted it somewhere right in here on these highs, right in here. So barely profitable, not by much. I'll look to be covering probably on that move down if we get it. That's about 6-7%. So the trade's probably going to end up being about a 10% trade right now, profitable trade. And then again, if you break this trend line, that's bigger stuff going on. This blue one here, I'm going to get rid of that one. I don't think I need that. Okay, so come down. That's the buyer should be waiting right down there. So I'd be looking to cover just slightly ahead of that. So that one looks pretty good. And then Amazon, Amazon's running into resistance. If I roll out on the daily, you can see here, that's kind of, I think that's your all-time high. Yeah. So your all-time high, you had one reaction, you had two, and then you can see three. All right. So to me, and we need to reject here. We haven't rejected yet. It's just kind of testing that resistance. But if it does reject, to me, this is a downtrend. All right. It doesn't look like one, but it is. We haven't made a new high. This is going back to July of 21, so years basically, and you can see lower, lower, and if it rejects here, that'll be a lower high as well. So that would be bigger trend. It's a downtrend, and this one speaks volumes to me, because when I look at this one on the weekly chart, and I got to clean it up because I've pointed it out several times, but you see here Amazon. Sorry guys, I'm trying to delete my little marks, and it always wants to delete my indicators. I need to lock these in. I haven't really ever cared to figure it out, but on the weekly chart, this is the IPO back in 97. So look, support, little chop through right there in 2008. There's another reaction. Let me clean it up just to, and I don't know, my trend line maybe can be adjusted, but support. And then we broke trend right there. That weekly chart or candle, that broke. And then boom, back test. It's not a coincidence that this is a big impulsive breakdown. And I'm trying to see if there was divergence. The negative divergence on the weekly was right here. See the weekly, it just builds and builds and builds. All through here, divergent high, starts to fail, break. So that's a break of a major, major trend right there that happened back on April 25th of 2022. Then it came in for a back test there, and I think the trends changed. So we'll watch this. If we pop above this, it kind of negates that this is a downtrend. But as of right now, it looks like it's at resistance, and it also looks like that major uptrend in Amazon that ran for basically 20 years is over. All right, so I think there's limited upside. I think we're either going to chop sideways and actually roll all the way down like this and maybe just chop sideways for years, or we're going to roll over and actually start to come down quite a bit. All right, that's Amazon. Again, that's a weekly chart, so it's long-term stuff, but I just want to kind of point it out. I think it's going to act like an anchor on the triple Qs for sure. And yeah, Nvidia can continue to go up, but I mean, it can only go parabolic for so long, and then it's gonna come down. All right, that's all those. And then let me see here. I'll just give you guys this is my list I've got. I just kind of threw a bunch of good short setups in here, but I mean they're not actionable yet, and last week nothing really changed. There was no technical change, but they are. It's a decent list. Where's my lines? They're slow. This program's slow this morning. Let me come back to that one. Sorry guys, I'm getting some lag here. Trading Views jammed up on me. I don't know. Trading View's not playing nice with me this morning, so. Not exactly sure what's going on. Trading View doesn't like the charts that I have. There it goes. Okay. Sometimes it does that. Here's Sherwin-Williams kind of marching up this trend line. You could probably adjust it slightly to be maybe something like that. Yeah, that looks better. Negative divergence there, just going up. All right, so we need to break that trend line for a sell signal. Here's Eli Lilly. This one, all right, so this one, I think we're still good. I think it's still a short. Here's how I've traded it, and I pointed it out over the last, I don't know, month, I guess. There's your bearish engulfing candle right there. So that's your top. All right, mark that as the top. Nothing says it has to be the top, but when you get those outside days, bearish engulfings, treat those as a top and stop above it, right? You get a daily close above, not just like a couple pennies, but you know, you want to see a decent daily close above so that it's just clear that it's a daily close above. Then you stop out, all right? Otherwise, treat that as a top. And if you've done that, you can see, all right, they tested it one day right here, still closed just below. And if I zoom in, they probably like dumped it in the last little bit. Let me look. No, they actually opened it and, you know, it was down there. They battled it out all day, but ultimately closing it below. Okay. And then, so that was a failure. And then boom, right down to this support, which I marked out as kind of this secondary trend line. And then, boom, this is where I covered my short. Like when I, you know, short based on that candle, I covered the short and I said the next short will come on a break of this trend line right here. Okay. So that's what I'm waiting for. And so far it's been good. You can see they've just been kind of grinding it higher. On Friday, look at that, tested resistance again, that candle. So that candle's in play for sure. That's two reactions off the top of that candle. So clearly that's in play. And boom, that's a doji too, all right? So I think Monday we break, I guess. If I had to guess, maybe they try to hold it up here, but ultimately that's a doji. So that's another reversal. That's telling me that this little grindy move up is done, because the sellers are, you know, they're now stepping in. So hopefully, I guess the gap down isn't too big if we do get a gap down on this. You know, if it gaps and breaks this trend line, hopefully it's not too big, and then all of a sudden you don't want to chase it, because I'm not short this right now. But, you know, a starter short would probably not even be a bad idea, to be honest. So, I don't know. Maybe Monday I'll take a look at it and see if I can take another starter short. Costco just holding this support line right here, 726.63. I think it's going to go, and then break down to 679. All right, next level is support. Negative divergence on the PPO. Nothing really on the RSI. Okay, guys. Well, ANF, this one's breaking. All right, so there's your uptrend line. Negative divergence. It's cracking. Update on Friday, but it's cracking. What else? Trying to. All right. Well, I'll just stop with the ones I'm interested in. I mean, there's some really good ones here that I just think are really good setups. ELF. There's your reversal candle. So again, treat that like your top. It's kind of range bound. So 192.50 is the support ish, and then 220 is resistance, but it's got a top in or top candle. So I'm gonna see if there's anything else that looks like super interesting. Like net is a nice little setup. It's upward trend line, negative slight negative divergence. It's okay. URI. Oh well, the home builders actually look great too. PHM, yeah, it's up. They're popping it on Friday. Again, that's a low volume day, so okay, fine, pop it. It's likely going to fail, but resistance, lots of reactions on this wedge and dropping momentum. So yeah, you pop it on a low volume Friday, okay, and maybe that's that window dressing. I think they just reverse this thing and boom, down it goes, but. That's all right. I'm gonna stop with the ones I'm looking at, and I'll get into the ones you guys want me to look at. We'll start with Micron, semiconductor, obviously. It had earnings, right? Yeah, popped on earnings. Okay, so can't make a super clean trend line, but I think it's something like that down there. It's basically gone parabolic. Looks like a buying climax, but momentum is, there's momentum there. You can see like higher momentum. I wouldn't step in front of that one. You know, I wouldn't short that. This looks like a relatively strong semiconductor. Okay. And then, yeah, you've got these former highs. So if it pulls back, this is where the buyers will likely be stepping in, is somewhere right around here. You know, this gap fill area, basically right around 97.50-ish. That's support. Yeah, I wouldn't short it. It's not a short for me. It's not even a short setup. So, you know, but again, it doesn't matter what this one does. If Nvidia starts selling off, this one's coming down too. It could be it could have the strongest chart. It's the weighting, you know, the sector weighting. It's the passive, you know, Nvidia is so heavily weighted, it will drag everything down. So, you know, really, you just, I mean, I would, if you're in this and you're long, I'd keep an eye on Nvidia. PayPal. I haven't looked at this one for a while. Well, that looks like a breakout to me. Let me see what's going on here. I had this as a downward channel. Some bullish divergence showing up there on the PPO, not on the RSI. It still has, like, this is still divergence. Let me just double check. Okay, so it is still divergence. You can see the momentum is kind of flatlined. And if I look at the PPO, it's basically like a flat line. We've made kind of an equal high and equal momentum. So it's technically still divergence. It's not divergence that's screaming to me that it's going to break down or you know, that it's a short. I mean, this is a downward channel and it's a breakout. So again, I don't want to short this thing. I would, you know, it could pull back and backtest this trend line. I could see that with this kind of equal divergence. It could do that. And technically that's an outside day. It's not that clean. So I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it, to be honest. It's not the cleanest chart. So I would probably just stand back, but I could see it doing this, pull back, hit support, and then run. Could do that. I don't want to short it. It's not something I'd be looking at day in and day out for like a short setup. I'd probably rather want to be long, but maybe not here. Down here, I'd feel a lot more comfortable going long. All right, Riot, which is a Bitcoin. Riot's a Bitcoin proxy. So if you know, you can watch what's the other one? What's that Michael Saylor's guy's company? MSTR? Is that it? MicroStrategy? Yeah, MSTR. So, you know, if you watch this, you can watch MSTR as well. Okay. I'm going to go with that as my trend line. If you want, you could drag it all the way down. It only gives you 2 data points, but, you know, and if I go like that, I've got kind of a few more. You had a little breakdown here. I think it's a false breakdown, and then they recovered it. A little choppy, but on this one, you didn't really quite have divergence, really. Momentum was less, but price actually was slightly less, just barely. So I don't see divergence there, and I see it at support. And I think that's probably why you had this little fake out. So I'm going to go with at support and not a breakdown. You'll want to watch BTC, Bitcoin futures, and you know, you could look at like MicroStrategy, but it looks like it's at support. I don't see a short here. So that's it. Newmont. Well, Newmont, you know, you'd want to look at GDX as well. But Newmont, okay, new higher high there. Yeah, it looks okay. I mean, it doesn't look bad. But the problem that I'm seeing with the gold miners, I guess, let me look at GDX. You know, that is well, let me see. Possibly a breakout. I mean, my trend line, I've got this data point. I have this one, but I allow, you know, it's kind of chopped through, and then I have this one. So that's the best I can do. There's a bump. Here's the problem I have with the miners right now, and I'll just tell you guys. When I go to the dollar, this is why it looks suspect to me. The dollar's been rising, okay? For a couple weeks now, the dollar's rising. Dollar also potentially on breakout. There's a downtrend there on the daily, potentially on breakout. Not divergence yet either. You can see we haven't made a new high. So if it pops up and makes a new high, maybe that's divergence, but it's not divergence yet. So the fact that the dollar's been rising and gold has been rising, something's got to give. So that's what I don't like about that. And then if you look at the interest rates, because gold's interest rate sensitive, again, we have an uptrend right now. Higher highs, higher lows. Now it could be flagging. That's potential, you know. You down leg, flag out. This flag's pretty big though, so I don't think it's doing that, but it could be. But again, I don't think, look, I mean, if interest rates are going to, if this is a flag and interest rates are just going to drop, let's say it's flagging and interest rates are just going to drop, the market's going to likely rally and rally strong. So, and I don't see that in the charts. The charts with the big divergences across the board, multiple time frames tell me the market's going to come down. And I see interest rates rising. So, again, interest rates popping this former high right there, about 4.33, should trigger the market sell-off if it hasn't happened. So I think we're going to go up. All right, I think interest rates are going to rise. Market's going to sell off. Fed's going to come out and cut interest rates to help prop up the market. But the market will have sold off at that point. Fed cuts rates typically in market weakness, not usually in market strength. So, I don't know. That's my problem with the gold miners right now. Oh, and then also oil, guys. Like oil, like DVN. I mean, we'll get to that one. But here's oil. Look at that. And oil is, I mean, you think about a gold miner, they've got labor and oil, two major inputs for their on the expense side of their balance sheet. So, and, oil's been rising. So, dollar rising, oil rising, interest rates rising. It's hard to be really bullish on gold miners, even though they're going up. I think it's a fake out, but I don't know. Could be a move to safety, but usually that's in gold, not necessarily gold miners. Oil's looks like it's moving higher, trending higher for sure. And then if you look at DVN, this is one of the trades I put out there. Look at that, It's moving up. So I pointed this one out. I think I started pointing it out to the private member group because that's typically what I'm going to do is when I see a trade, the private member group's going to know about it first because it's really easy for me to just draft up a chart, mock it up, put some comments on there, and post it out to the private member group. It takes a while. And if that's the only thing that's going on, I'm not going to put out a whole video on one stock. So that group's going to get that info more frequently and first. But this one, I said, look, here's the thing on this one. This is the kind of stuff I want to go long on. You've got a bullish falling wedge, okay? You have bullish divergence. See the momentum building for a while on both momentum indicators, all right? Each new lower low in price was a higher high in momentum, and you have a breakout. And so I said, there's your breakout, guys. And I pointed it out, write it down in here, indicating that, okay, first resist, and the resistance levels aren't that clean. I mean, I marked this one here, but I was like, you see here, I'm like, there's a lot of breaks through it. So it was kind of hard to find that first resistance level. as of now, I don't know, maybe that's it right there. But look at all the break. It's choppy, you know. It's choppy through there. I think we'll get a pullback somewhere in here. It's just, where is it? You know, I'm like looking, I see gaps. You know, that looks like something right there. You know, because I have this gap here. There's a reaction. You know, some reactions right through there. There's a reaction. So several reactions there. You know, that looks like, okay, so I'm going to move that up. And I think that's our first resistance. All right, that's the best I can do on that, which is about 50.80. Okay. So we're close, but, you know, a little more upside, and you're probably going to hit that first resistance. It got about another % or so. And then you have this trend line right here. It's just marching up. There's no divergence, really. So looks like buy the dip to me. All right, so that's that one. And oil looks strong. Cigna. So that's a healthcare, right? CI, or is that insurance? I don't know what these guys. Is it insurance or healthcare? Health, maybe health insurance. Okay, Cigna. So momentum was strong. All here, we're just going to go down to this time frame here. All right, we're going to mark this out. I'm going to just, well, let me see. Okay, I guess that's it. Hold on, let me adjust that. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay, so on the daily chart, support 1, 2, 3, 4 reactions basically. That's good. Somewhere right in there. The top isn't as clean. Could be that. I don't know. The top's not as clean, so I wouldn't worry about the top as much. The bottom looks better. The support line looks better as support. The resistance doesn't quite look as good. It could be that, but so momentum was strong through here. You can see, look, rising momentum. All right, so everything's great. All right, hit support, buy the dip, because you got rising momentum. Everything's great. Now we are diverging, okay? Just starting to. So we now have lower momentum on a higher price, so we have negative divergence. I would just wait for the sell signal, break of trend line. It's probably coming, but maybe not yet. We could make another move higher. So that one's pending a sell signal. And the momentum just started to diverge, so could go a little longer. I already covered Apple. SPX. Well, that's the S&P 500. Nowadays, the S&P 500 is the triple Qs. I mean, everything is tied to those for the most part. I know there's this talk of rotation going on, and that's what the media is, you know, they're going to do that. But it doesn't matter, rotation. The other sectors aren't weighted heavily enough to keep the market up if the tech sector drops. It just doesn't matter. So even if there's rotation, if there's money flowing out of the tech sector, it's going to drop the markets. All right, so there you go. Rising bearish wedge, negative divergence, and that's it. Waiting a sell signal. Okay, so that's it on the SPX. Soundhound. What do these guys do? Oh, AI. Okay. Did they change their name to Soundhound AI, or have they always been Soundhound AI? That's, you know, when you get these manias, you'll have these companies come out and just change their name and slap on an AI, basically just pumping their stock. On this one, Looks like it's broken. That looks like a sell signal. So you got the uptrend here. You've got the negative divergence. So okay, negative divergence shows up. Everybody's happy because look, oh, who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Boom. All right. Kind of hanging in there, but yeah, probably lower. And going to go down and fill these gaps. I would look all the way to 241. I'd put good odds that it's heading down there. It's not going to do it all at once. Might battle it out on its way down, like grind it out. But I think you're going to see over time a lower lows. So that's all I have on that one, and it's very similar to SMCI. You know, uptrend, broken. Again, I think you are going to see lower lows and lower highs. Downtrend. All right, I'd put good odds. I'm short this one. I'm short again. I didn't have a reason to short it back here. They you know, look, big bearish engulfing candle. They popped it above. This is market makers because this thing's not. I think it's relatively thinly traded. Let me look at the volume. Well, I'd have to look on my other platform, but in general, so they played some games, but boom, break back down, resistance, rejection. So yeah, I think we're heading all the way down here. Excuse me. 373, 355 is former support, and there's an uptrend line as well. They'll probably come in together. Okay. AZN. What do these guys do? Pharmaceutical. Yeah, the farms are tough. I don't usually trade them because they're so news related. You know, if you pass a FDA test or whatever, then it spikes, and if you don't pass it, they drop. I don't know. I don't like the chart, but I would go with that uptrend line there. Momentum is dropping, but so is price. So I don't see divergence. This is, you had divergence here, right? There's your negative divergence. It was there. All right, so that was a divergent high here, and you've got that. So yeah, this doesn't look like a short to me. It looks more down 20% from there. So that looks more like a longer term kind of long. It's still trending higher, and it doesn't really have divergence. I mean, that divergence that was there, you got a 20% drop out of it. Okay. Calm for this. I have not charted Calm. I've got a lot of shorts that I'm watching, so I don't need them all, but I mean, obviously if you so I just, you just need ones that work. This one, all right, there's Calm. Support, yeah, 1, 2, 3 data points. New, momentum's still there in the RSI. You are diverging clearly in the PPO. I don't know. You don't have to have divergence in both for the breakdown, but we don't have a sell signal. It hasn't broken that support, so it could make another leg higher. I would just not. Yeah, this one I wouldn't be shorting that one. Palantir, I think they're kind of part of the AI thing. PLTR, yeah, breaking down. Uptrend line, negative divergence right there. All right, so look, there it is. Momentum dropping. There's your divergent high. There's your break of trend right there. and you're dropping. Lower highs, lower lows. All right, it's not going to do it all at once, but it's trending lower. So I would put good odds you're going to go down, hit gap entry, maybe gap fill. You're going to go down to that area. You got the 200-day, so lower though. I'd put good odds you're going to head down, somewhere down in there, 10, 15% down. All right, so SMH, very similar to SOXX. I don't know what the weighting of this one is, like with NVIDIA, because everything's NVIDIA in these things, but I guarantee, again, you just watch NVIDIA. This one doesn't look super weak to me. Momentum's still there. I mean, I don't see divergence, so it doesn't look super weak to me. This one looks weaker. Probably need to adjust this slightly. But it's still, I think it's still holding support. So I don't know. We could see another high. Like with SMH not looking that weak, if it does that and makes another divergence, I bet SMH would have that divergence then it's probably going to break. But as of right now, it's basically right at support right there. So no sell signal, no reason to short yet on that one. All right, what else do we have? GER40? What is that? Oh, the German index. Well, I can give you a rough look at it. All right, so you're diverging right now. As of now, it's divergence. All right, and you've got the market just, it's probably going to do what the U.S. market does, I would think, but you've got the that. I don't know. It's not that doesn't have to be resistance. I think it's just moving higher, starting to diverge, no sell signals, and it's not even that clean of a trend line, so. But I would watch this divergence, see if you can make out a trend line. Right now I have 2 data points, so I just don't have enough to really be confident on that one. I've got that and that, so, you might get another reaction. It's up as of right now, but starting to diverge. So looks like momentum's starting to fade, but doesn't mean it's going to fade. Doesn't mean you're not going to make higher prices before the momentum's gone. BITF. Is this Bitcoin? Bit farms? I don't know. It's probably. Is this a Bitcoin farming thing? I'm gonna go with that as my uptrend line. Yeah, I like that. So there's your uptrend line. There's your negative divergence. All right. So divergent high probability of a correction or reversal. There's your reversal. I'd say you're coming down to this, down to that trend line. Doesn't mean, but if you're not short, like I don't want to short after something's down 44%. All right. If you're not short already, you don't want to short something down 44%. Even though I think it's coming down, doesn't mean it can't go right like that, then down. All right, it doesn't make sense to short something once it's already down 44%. You'd want to short this thing on that initial sell signal. But yeah, Mara. So that's another Bitcoin one. Is this the same person? Yeah. Negative divergence. I don't have it marked out, but that's a divergent high. Roll over. All right. So again, probably coming down. See if we can mark something out here. I don't know. That's not a super clean trend line, but I would, it's probably going to come down down to there, down to that potential trend line there. Something like that. All right. Just a couple more, guys. Then I'm going to wrap up. Again, I'll be out next week, so I'll post some trades and some comments to the private member group, but I'm not going to be putting out any videos. So I've given you guys all the levels that I'd be watching. So, all right. ENPH. This guy asks about this one every live stream, so we'll see if anything changed. Negative divergence. Well, so there's the last time I told him, I said, look, I think it's coming down. I marked that out, and look, it is. I mean, you're dropping, so I think you're still probably coming down. Maybe back down to that trend line. It's not the cleanest trend line, but it's a semiconductor. Again, NVIDIA, guys. It's really all. If NVIDIA dumps, the semis are all going with it. Every single semi is going with them. There might, some might not fall quite as much, but they're all going to go down because of the weighting. All right, let's see here. JP Morgan. Let's see that one. Still rising. Almost could, let me see if I got a trend line going on here. Nope. Yeah, I don't know. It's diverging. I think this is gonna get. I think this is gonna be a false breakout kind of move. Momentum still dropping. XLF is. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, momentum's dropping on this. It's continuing to drop. So I think this kind of move that took place, the price action last week was really choppy. It was really thinly traded. So you can have the market makers popping things and moving the market around. Doesn't really give you a clear indication of the trend, but there's your bearish rising wedge, negative divergence. I think this is going to get sold into. But it hasn't yet, so we'll just wait, just wait for that rejection candle. Likely it's all going to come together, triple Qs and everything, but and then also if you look at the financials, Berkshire Hathaway, I think it was right at resistance. See, this is a top candle. That's a topping stick. They're just testing it, testing resistance. It's probably going to get rejected. Daily close above that, you could maybe say that's no longer a topping candle, but I think it's going to get rejected. And this is number 2 waiting in the XLF, I believe. So you've really got 3 that really matter. JP Morgan, Visa, and Berkshire Hathaway. And Visa actually was looking good on downside price action. There's Visa. So I think Visa's number 3, but boom, coming down, negative divergence. So to me it looks like Visa's topped, and there's supports right here, 273.75, so you maybe get a bounce there, but I think it's going to either chop sideways or ultimately I think it's going lower. The divergence tells me it's going lower. One more, and I'm going to wrap up. I already covered NVIDIA. One Chinese stock each show. I'll do 2 more. I'm going to do Kava and Baidu. All right, because everything else I've pretty much covered. So, and I don't even know what Kava is. Restaurants. Okay. It's kind of a brand new stock, so not a lot of history here. Usually when something doesn't have a lot of history, it's not the best for technical analysis. But we'll go with that as an uptrend line. Momentum looks okay. You know, you're starting. It's potential divergence, but it's not that. It's kind of equal. So I don't know. I wouldn't be looking at a short on this one. It's just not clean enough for me. I'd probably just be, you know, I don't know. It's an upward channel. You could trade that channel if it breaks, exit. I already covered Amazon, so yeah, I don't know about cheap mining. I talked about gold earlier and how the dollar's rising, interest rates are rising, oil's rising. Those are negatives for mining stocks, so you know, I mean, mining, I don't know. They're not my favorite. Although the charts look relatively constructive, like some of them do. Like AEM looks okay. I mean, I just don't like the fact that those other things are rising. Something's got to give. So I'm kind of suspect on that one. And then Baidu. Let me. Which one? Is this a symbol? Well, I guess it trades on the NASDAQ too. Bullish divergence. Okay, there it is. It's on both. So that just in general gives you a bullish tone. No buy signal though. All right, we don't have any reason to get long this thing. And it looks like it's relatively thinly traded too. So you have to be, so probably a lot of gaps take place. I can see tons of gaps, so look at all these gaps. So position sizing, I think, would be important here. I'd probably taper down my position just because it's thinly traded. Thinly traded stocks, you know, are higher volatility, so you want to be careful. And so this is what I have: bullish falling wedge, bullish divergence, no buy signal. You get the buy signal, you can run. All right, you break out, you can run, as long as there's no negative divergence, as long as it's not breaking out on negative divergence. But to me, it looks like it's building. It could continue to build. You know, there's no buy signal, so it can come down, make a new divergent low. It can do that. You just have to sit there and wait for the buy signal, and I don't see it yet. And then when you get the buy signal, take the widest part of the wedge, which I think is probably right about here, and plop that wherever that breakout comes, plop that down, and that would be your major target. So if it comes now, which I don't know if it is, but let's say it does, then your major target puts you up around 141.77, and then what you want to do is look for resistance levels that are near that to give you kind of a good target. You know, I see some reactions right through here, so that would potentially be a resistance level. And you just kind of align it to get that range or that target zone of where you want to, you know, where resistance is likely, and then and then let the trade do its thing. Buy on dips as it goes up, and then as you approach that resistance level, you exit the trade slightly early. And that's it. That's how I do it. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for joining. Drop me a thumbs up on your way out. I do appreciate that. If you're not in the private member group, feel free to join up. I'm going to be commenting in there next week. And everyone have a great week.